Hey, folks. This is the other Path of Exile video that I talked about in the previous one. Um, so basically, like I said, this league, I've had two primary characters. The SRS Necro that I showed off previously, and I used it mostly for mapping. And then my Righteous Fire Juggernaut character that I mostly used for Delve and Heist, which are two specific league mechanics. And this video, I'm going to show off Heist, or not Heist. I'm going to show off Delve. So generally, like the pattern that I would do was do maps until I filled up my Voltaxic Sulfite, and then go do Delve. And Delve is essentially this pseudo endless dungeon crawler. Um, so like this is the delve path that I have been on. Um, and at some point it goes up. Um, yeah, so here this is the path that I have taken this league. At some point it's going to go up to a central column that leads up to the surface. So, hang on, let's see if it'll put me right back to where I left off. Okay, sweet. Yeah, so I was operating down around 238 depth. And essentially what I would look for is nodes. I'm trying to find one as an example. Okay, so this area that is highlighted is what is called a city. So every area down inside of Delve exists in a biome, and you can see, like, so this is in an Abyssal City biome, this is in a Magma Fissure biome, Abyssal Depths, Petrified Forest, Frozen Hollow, and each one of those biomes has different mechanics associated with it. So if I mouse over any one of these, it'll say like all of the things that you're gaining because it's Frozen Hollow. Um, so the other thing that you're fighting down in Delve is this out. Reopen it. The other thing that you're fighting down in Delve is the darkness. Um, so let's go over to the mine encampment. So the darkness will eventually just kill you straight out. And as a result, you spend Azurite to buff up your resistances to darkness. So my base raw resistance value against darkness is 1170% resistance, but because of the penalty that keeps increasing as I go further in depth, my actual resistance is 830% resistance. Anyway, I'm not like, there are people that try and go as low as they can go, and as a result, you have to like crank out the amount of resistance that you can do. I'm not that person. I mostly did this as a way of, one, it was fun. I would put on an audiobook while I did Delve, and two, it would fund other projects that I had, like craft myself back up in flares, because you can drop a flare if you're out in the darkness, and it will protect you for a little bit. And you also have dynamite, which will allow you to blow holes in things. So inside of my inventory, there's a Delve tab. These are things that you get commonly in Delve and can only get in Delve. And as a result, a couple of days worth of delving would end up being, I don't know, 1,000 chaos worth of trade. And as soon as I listed these stupid things, they would sell out almost instantly. So I enjoyed doing Delve, and it also produced just a stupid amount of currency, because like, you see I've got 5,000 chaos orbs here because that's the maximum stack size, and I've got 3,500 down here in another stack, and I've also got like 19 divine orbs and 27 exalted orbs. So like I am no means wealthy in Path of Exile terms, but delving allowed me to fund any projects that I wanted to do. So I guess let's. So usually when I come down here, I try and set a target in mind, and I particularly like these fossil nodes, so we're gonna head and pick those up. So first of all, Righteous Fire, it won't start until I go into here, but Righteous Fire is a build where I basically catch myself on fire. So I've got a bunch of auras running. If you look, my fire resistance is well over capped. And my life regen is really good. So what I'll do is I'll throw that on, and you can see that it basically ate up all of my energy shield immediately. And now anything that gets in range of me is going to take a ton of damage. And I'm also dropping fire traps, which also does a bunch of damage. Pox is the YouTuber that is super devoted to Righteous Fire, and he does amazing guides. So essentially, I'm going to start my crawler, and it's going to start lighting the way. And as I get things that I'm going through, what I'm looking for is any little offshoots that lead down to paths. So like, for example, this one might be worth going down, and I'm looking for, okay, there's Lost Wealth, Chaos Orbs. My resistance allows me to basically like go off into the darkness, and my health also and defenses also allow all that. Okay, so we're here at our first node. This is an Azurite node. So once I start this, it's going to start a little event with a bunch of people or a bunch of critters attacking me. And I'm just moving around trying to make sure they're all taking damage. Once I've killed enough of these, the ore nodes will like pop open, and I'll be able to pick up a bunch of raw Azurite. Tiny little boss. And I've also got my flasks set up in the way that basically, like, me getting hit generates flask charges, and then when they get to full charges, they auto use a flask. So, like, it's a layer of defenses that I basically don't even have to care about. Okay, so there we are. We're now get a bunch of Azurite, and we get some drops, and oh, I got 2 uniques. Sweet. Okay, so I grabbed all I care about at this node, so I'm going to pick another node, and it's going to start the crawler off in that direction. And again, I'm looking for tunnels as we go that I can dive down. This is not... Okay, there's a flawed Azurite node that I'm going to pick up. This is maybe not the best path. The longer paths tend to have offshoots, so... Yeah, this is just going to other areas. So while I'm in the darkness, there's a debuff that starts ticking down. And once that gets to around 60, 70, I start actually getting into danger. So I'm always kind of keeping an eye on that as I'm diving down into darkness. And if I need to, I can drop a flare, which will let me kill everything. Because when you're in the darkness, the monsters don't take any damage. Like, they only take damage in the light. So that means I'm having to stay next to the cart till each little mini event finishes, then I'll set another one, and this will be a fossil. And the fossil nodes have a chance of dropping some stuff that's actually pretty valuable. Like, I don't use it personally for crafting. I could. There's a lot of players that just do delve, and they're able to craft all of their gear through delve. Okay, we're going off this little side venture, because usually when the path breaks like that, there's usually something good down here. I have a specific potion that allows me to basically become immune. Okay, here's a fossil. Immune to interference. So basically I get phasing that allows me to move through packs of mobs. So sometimes you'll get trapped down in these little tunnels and everything is surrounding you, and you have to use one of those. Okay, so I'm going to dive back into the light real quick, reset my timer, and go down here. Dynamite cache. I crafted a bunch of dynamite and flares, but if you're doing delve a lot, you can almost always sustain your dynamite and your flares just by going down into the tunnels and looking for the caches as well. This is a weird little abyss event that's happening down here. Probably be a boss type eventually. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, so this dropped a hollow fossil, which adds an abyssal socket to something, and these tend to be more valuable than a lot of the other options. So we'll go back up here. Yeah, so, I mean, I could spend hours doing this. Just chilling out, looking for stuff, picking up the loot, selling it, sticking in my stash tabs, and it's like the most chill gameplay ever. Okay, so there I'm stuck, so I had to use my flask. It's like sometimes you'll get stuck because mobs have collision, and they will jam in on either side of you, and you just can't move. And I mean, in theory, I can use my blink that I just used, or I could sometimes shield charge through them. But in worst case scenarios, I could hit my phasing flask and get out of the hole. Because, like, realistically, like, I'm playing a semi-dangerous game by diving down into the darkness. Because, like, that's the only time that it's really going to hurt me, is if my darkness gets too high. Yeah, you just... Every time I go down one of these paths, it's eating up some of the sulfite. So, like, there's a finite amount of time that I can stay down here. Just because I run out of resources to keep going. And in that case, I would flip over to the other character and start doing some maps again. Lost jewelry. Went to the light for a second. Reset my charge. Okay. Fossil. What is down here? Another fossil. Not seeing any resonators. That's really what I'm looking for.
Do this yet.
Resonators are the things that sell pretty well. And little encounter is like a bunch of what they call rogues, which are NPCs that are supposed to be equivalent to your player character. So I'm moving around and dropping fire traps to take care of them. Anytime I charge through a monster, I'm also debuffing it against elemental damage. So... Okay. Fossils. I don't care about that, even though my loot filter seems to think I'm excited about it. So yeah, that's So if I were doing more of this, I would work my way up here to a primeval ruin, which are these really cool chambers that are, bathed in darkness, but they're full of treasure chests. So doing one of those nodes alone is worth a ton of currency. Um, so yeah, like I mean, you basically stay down until you have too much stuff in your inventory, and then from the map, you can pop back up to the encampment, and this is a vendor, and you've got your stash chest. So, I can file these away quickly. Then decide if I care about these. No, I really don't. So sometimes I would corrupt it and see if it turns into something cool, and it didn't. It downgraded into a rare. Yeah, I've got one of those already. Skin, and again, it downgraded into a rare. But sometimes the rares that you get off of downgrading into from a unique are really good and really valuable. So, in reality, most of the stuff isn't worth doing anything with. So, come over here to the vendor, sell it,
Step on the cracks.
goes back in the bank, and then go back down for another run. And like I said, I could do this for an entire evening and be perfectly happy. I liked diving down into the tunnel structure and looking for stuff. There's some bosses that spawn down here, which are really cool if you find. I wish there was an easy way for me to get a tally of how much time I spent doing Delve, because it's hands down my favorite game mode inside of Path of Exile. Like I wish Last Epoch had something as fun as Delve. Because like this is the most, popcorn enjoyments type game mode for me. Is once I got my character built, I could just chill out and go down a tunnel and collect some loot. But anyway, I think that's it. That's Delve, and that's a thing that I really enjoyed this league. I think I'm probably going to do one more of these videos on Heist. But anyway, if you enjoy this, let me know. Otherwise, see you later.